God. Okay, well, hello guys, I hope you're doing well, and for this week's video I'm going to be talking about weighted blankets. As you can see, I have two of my absolute favorites with me today that I wanted to share with you guys. And if you've been watching my channel for quite some time, you'll know that it was probably about a year ago that I got my first weighted blanket, since I'd always been interested in it but never tried it myself. And in that time, I have definitely learned that, first of all, the benefits are real. It really does make a difference in your sleeping habits and stress reduction, and just feels really good. And if you do have any symptoms of things like anxiety or depression, OCD, even autism has been shown to, be easier to deal with when you have a consistent regimen of using a weighted blanket. So this is definitely something that I'm passionate to talk about. But the one thing that I've also learned this year is that it really does matter to make sure you're getting the right size and the right weight for your body weight, and also the materials that are used inside of the blankets and on the outside. It really does make a difference, and I've kind of experimented with that myself. So today's video is really going to be about getting the right size for your weight, the proper weight distribution, and just talking about a few general things that I found to be important when choosing a weighted blanket. So the blankets that I'll be talking about today are from a company called YnM, and I will obviously link everything down below, the ones I have, and just a few other guidelines if you guys are interested in getting them. There are separate links for the American Amazon site or the Canadian site, because you can't order from the American one if you're in Canada, so just keep that in mind. But basically, this company has become a big favorite of mine, not only because they have so much selection with the size and the weight and kind of the design of the blankets that they offer. Out of all the companies that I looked at that had weighted blankets, I could not find anybody that had such fun and cute designs. I'll give you guys a little bit of a close-up later on in the video, because usually weighted blankets are, a bit basic, so to say, and are usually just, a solid neutral color, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, this is a really great blanket, and if you wanted something more neutral, that would be the obvious choice to go with. But I personally like more fun and kind of cute patterns, and to have something kind of different. So they were the only company that I found that really offered that in a weighted blanket. So if you were thinking of getting somebody a really nice, cute gift, I would definitely recommend this. So the first thing that I'd like to mention with YnM's blankets, we'll use just their original blanket to begin with, is that they actually use glass beads instead of the usual filling, which is like poly pellets. And the reason that they do this is because it is better for people who are a bit more sensitive to textures and sounds, because with the pellets, I also noticed as well that it's a bit like, I don't know if crinkly is the right sound, but you do kind of hear it more than you do with the glass pellets, and the texture is a bit more lumpy. So with the glass beads, it's actually much smoother of a texture, and you just don't hear it. I'll just do an ASMR here for you guys. So yeah, it just kind of sounds like a regular blanket texture, and there's no added sort of friction, or there's no bumps. And the other thing that they really recommend is to get a duvet cover for your blanket, because as you guys can see here, this is just the raw blanket by itself, and you would not want to put this in the wash. So make sure you do get a sturdy duvet cover, and they sell those on their Amazon page as well. So I will link all of those down below. So even if you did get a basic sort of blanket, you could get a duvet cover in whatever funky color you want, and it will just help your blanket last that much longer. Now, the second thing to consider is what size you want to get, and this really is going to depend on whether you yourself are going to be using the blanket, or if for sure you and your partner, whoever you share the bed with, is also going to want to use it. So if you are going to be using the blanket just by yourself, whether it's by yourself or in the bed with someone else who doesn't want to use the blanket, and you are over about 5'4", I would recommend getting the 60 by 80 size. That's going to be similar to a twin bed sort of blanket size, so it's not going to interfere with somebody laying beside you, and it's also going to distribute the weight properly on just your own personal body. And if you are somebody who is in the early, like 5'1", 5'2" mark, whether it's a child or whether it's an adult, the best size in that case would probably be about a 48 to 72. It's just going to be a little bit shorter. Now, if you are sharing the bed with another person, obviously you're going to need the blanket to be basically double the size and also double the weight. So in a perfect world, you want to be sharing the blanket with somebody who's not completely disproportionate to you in size. If it's like a 30 to 40, pound difference, that's not too bad. You could just get a heavier blanket overall and it'd probably be fine for both of you. But obviously if there's like 100-pound difference, you may just want to get your own individual blanket so it is more comfortable. But in the scenario that you are somewhat similar in size, you can get the 80 by 87 size, which is for a queen or king bed. So what I'll actually do is link the small, medium, and large size just so you guys can make sure you're getting the right size, because it really does make a difference depending on how tall you are and obviously if you're sharing the bed with another person. Now, the third and final step of choosing your blanket, and the step that I think is actually the most important and that makes the biggest difference, is getting the right weight. Basically, the rule of thumb is to take 10% of your body weight and add 1 to it. So for me, for example, I weigh somewhere between 120 to 130. So let's say 130 would be 13 plus 1 is 14. And just as a personal preference, I like just a little bit of extra weight, and I decided to get the 15-pound blankets in the 60 by 80 size, since I am pretty much 5'7". So if you're, let's say, 180 pounds, you would take, a 19-pound blanket or, a 20-pound blanket to kind of make it a nice even number. I usually recommend going a pound or two heavier if you're somebody that has a bit more intense anxiety. Something about that little bit of extra weight is just really calming. But if you do get the exact 10% plus 1, that will obviously be really good as well. A pound here or there isn't a huge difference, but if you are getting something that is 5 pounds less than what you need or 5 pounds more, that probably is a little bit too much. So you just want to make sure you're kind of getting in the ballpark of where your personal weight is. So here we have the original YnM weighted blanket in the 60 by 80 size. And as you guys can see, in the 60 by 80, it does not fully cover the entire bed, which is a queen size bed. It would fully cover a twin size bed and drape nicely over the sides, but in this scenario, it is not large enough. But to cover just one person, it falls really nice. And also, the outside material of this is really great because it's a very strong, thick cotton sort of material, and it has the glass beads inside. So if you guys wanted to get this blanket, I would recommend to just get a duvet cover to go over top of it. And here we have the second blanket, which, as I told you guys, is my personal favorite because it is just such a fun pattern and is just so cute. And this one is also in the 60 by 80 size, so really good for individual use. And of course, my favorite part is the super cute pattern of flamingos, butterflies, and pink pineapples. And the thing to note with this blanket is that the outside material is a little bit different. This is more of a plush sort of texture. So obviously I don't use a duvet cover over this guy because I like the actual pattern, so I just have to be a little bit more careful with it. And then the other thing to note with this blanket is that the inside actually has a really cool sort of texture as well. These are just like soft sort of like bumps that give you a different kind of texture on the body, which I really like. So overall, this is my favorite blanket, and this would work really well if you were just like sitting on the couch and wanted to wrap up in something cozy as well. I really just love this blanket. So in partnering with YnM, I actually have a discount code for you guys as well. It is right here as well as in the description box, and it will give you an extra 5% off of the price of the blanket, which is super good because I feel like their prices are already quite a bit less than their competitors. So it's a nice bonus on top of an already really good price. And definitely let me know if you guys do end up getting the blankets, because this is really a product that I would stand behind and that I have been using myself for quite some time and really believe in. Not only has it helped me feel a lot calmer and more centered when going to bed and waking up, but my quality of sleep has just been so much better. And if you are somebody who has symptoms of things like anxiety, depression, OCD, and even autism they're coming out with now, this could really be a useful tool for you to help you not only feel better, but to just get a better quality of sleep, because God knows we all need more sleep. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope it was helpful. And until I see you guys next time, keep being your own kind of beautiful. Bye guys.